Hello everyone, welcome to the preview. It's Manchester United's under-18s versus Wolves in the Premier League. Now, before we get into the actual game in itself, lads, I don't think personally that we've had enough time to really sit on that result last night. Obviously, we went live after the game, Sam, but Aaron, just give me your thoughts, mate, because like we said, I know the kind of merry-go-round in football, it's just game after game after game, so you can't really enjoy results like that. But it was incredible last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like we felt every single emotion that you can as a football fan. And like I said to you in the chat before, when times are tough and it's not been a great season, United always give you that one. There's always that one moment every season. It just reminds you why you love the club so much and why we've got such a bond and a connection, because then that feeling, like, I have two kids and that feeling's up there with them. Like, it's just,
I bet unreal. You're not the only dad to say that. I bet there's plenty of dads outside Old Trafford who was probably feeling the exact same as that.
And I seen a thing on Instagram, when it's showing like Rio Ferdinand's reaction and stuff like that.
In the com box, was it?
Yeah, and I can't remember if he said it in that or after the game, and he was like, there's no other sport that makes you feel like this, and he was so true. But yeah, it was just unreal. I thought we were down and out. I think we all thought we were down and out. To concede 2 in extra time, have 7 minutes left. Just crazy. I still can't even believe it now.
I mean, it's almost like you don't want to go into the next game, do we, Sam? Because we kind of see the writing on the wall with this Wolves game, and we'll get into the details and stuff. But we want to sit on this for a bit, don't we?
You'd like to, but like you said, the nature of football is game after game after game after game after game, and it just never stops. And then we stop the season, and then it just becomes silly season, and all we're doing is talk about transfers. So it just never ends, does it? Never ends. I did what everybody else probably did, and if you didn't, I don't know what you were doing with your life, but I spent most of the night rewatching highlights and goals, not sleeping. Got up this morning, probably did the same thing for a couple of hours, and then I actually had to do something with my life and actually go out and do things. But for the most part, that's what I did with my life for the last couple of hours, and I think most United fans are probably in the same boat, I would imagine.
I have been farming those clips all morning. I can't, like, Titanic music. I know we get stuff like, oh, Titanic music's boring or whatever. No, mate. Put it over that Maguire goal, and I'm telling you, like, it just gives you that, oh, fucking get in. I can't believe he's done it. I think the redemption arc on him is something to be, like, proud of, man, because he is, more than anyone, just received the most amount of shit ever, and he's just stayed so professional and just end up with that moment. I mean, I think that's probably his best moment ever as a player for him. Now, obviously, he's won trophies, Carabao's, he's been there or thereabouts, but for an individual thing, to go and score that last-minute winner, and almost look a better striker than Højlund has done. And he did the same thing at Nottingham Forest. Super, super impressed with him. I'd be interested to see, out of these kind of senior players, who's going to start against Wolves as well, because Aaron, are we expecting a heavily rotated team, do you think? And how heavy do you think he'll go?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will come in, like your Erikssons and that ain't really got many starts or not expected to start. He kind of said it himself, didn't he, now that the kids have got to step up, and he's got, and we know what it is. Our season, the Premier League's, it's nothing now. Like, it don't matter. Everything's hinging on Europa. Obviously we're going to win a trophy, and I think more importantly is the money we're going to gain from the Champions League, which is like, and the players will know. And I think that's an even bigger incentive for the players, because they don't want to be in a mediocre team finishing in the bottom half. They know funds are going to have to come in. It's all over the news. We know it. The players are going to know it. So it kind of feels like everything next season really hinges on winning this Europa.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of pressure. Do you reckon the players will feel that pressure, Sam? Like Aaron's just touched on there, that they're going to see the headlines. They're going to see it's only 3 more games. You only have to win 3 more games. You're back into the Champions League. Your budget probably goes up 50 million quid. Like, it is that, and it's all or nothing.
Yeah, it is all or nothing at this point, and it's probably now your toughest game upcoming against Bilbao. Like, I don't think we've played a tougher team so far. I think that's probably the sort of best team we will play. even at the final stage, if we get Spurs or we get Bodo Glimt, I think Bilbao is still the tougher team to play. So I think, yeah, forget the Premier League, play the kids, and let's get everybody rested. Let's get players out and ready to go for these games in May. And let's sort of build up and work on tactics, work on belief. If they haven't got belief by now, I don't know what else they need to do. Because if you don't believe in yourself after what happened last night, then there's no helping you.
Do you know what though? Personally, I'd rather have Bilbao in the final than Tottenham. I don't know what it is about Tottenham. I just don't want to face them in the final, and I think they're going to get past Bodo, because ultimately, I know Bodo have done really well, and they've beat some teams along the way, and they give us a tough go as well. But I think Tottenham, the players that they've got back now, Van der Ven, Romero, Son, Solanke, I think they're going to breeze past Bodo, and they're going to be waiting, and I think that's going to be a really, really difficult game, because the whole narrative going into that is just going to be, oh, well, they've already beaten them 3 times this season. They've scored 12 goals against them and all this kind of stuff. And I think that'd be a tough game. And the pressure on both sides as well. Like, who would you even argue needs it more, Aaron? Would you say Spurs or United?
Probably Spurs. If I'm coming from, I think if they don't win Europa, I think I'm just done. Amarin's not done if we don't win.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
We've won a trophy recently as well. They haven't.
Yeah. So they've always got that every year. The pressure's on Daniel Levy. Even people that have backed him in the media and ex-players and that are now starting to question his model, because it's all right sustaining, but when do you kick on? Obviously, Ange will be fighting for his job. I think the pressure's definitely on Spurs.
Yeah. And imagine to get there and then they bottled it again. Obviously, I'm looking quite far ahead here, but if they did it again, it's just like
the Spurs fans wouldn't accept that. I think that would just be a meltdown.
Yeah, you get that's where ties come from of the world of AFTV. That's where these people start to kind of spring up from out of nowhere. Yeah, I know that the Premier League itself, Sam, you've mentioned on record that you're not particularly bothered about the rest of the season now. But it is an exciting opportunity for the young kids. Amrin's said he's going to play him. Who in your mind, who you watch closely or seen bits of that you think deserves an opportunity?
Well, my team's quite surprising compared to your two, so you'll see who I've picked out. But we've seen Amas get opportunities. He's played quite a few minutes, so he's probably going to get some starts there. We've seen Heaven.
Sam, what have you made of Amas? Sorry, quickly, just because
I thought he's been good. I thought he's been decent. I don't think he's put a foot wrong. I think he's been really good going forward. Obviously, he needs to build on his size a bit and his physicality, because he is a small guy, but that'll come with time. He's only 18. So, yeah, I think he needs to work on that defensive side of things. But I think going forward and attacking, I think he's been decent. I really like what I'm seeing. That's what I liked when I brought him up on that channel, that show we did, when we were talking about him and Shea Lacey. So, yeah, I really like him. I think he's a good little talent. So, looking out for what he can do. Heaven's back on the bench. I want to see him get some minutes, because he's been instrumental when he has played. So I'd like to see him get some minutes, get some things under his legs. Kakonki's been on the bench quite a lot. Not seen him start yet.
He's always on the bench, but never.
So maybe this is the opportunity there where you could chuck him in. Cheeto's an obvious one, because I want him to get a full game. I'd love to see him get a full game, and I think this is an opportunity. So, yeah, there's a bunch of players that I'd love to see come on in. When I get into my team, I'll go through them all, because I've picked quite a few sort of academy talents.
Anyone you scoped out, Aaron, individually, youth play, or anyone who you think, I reckon he can handle it first team-wise?
I'd probably agree. I think Evan, when he did come into the team, he looked like he'd been in the team before, you know what I mean? He was composed. Definitely played like he was above his years. And the fact we signed him, what did we sign him for? Like $1 million or something like that?
Yeah. £1.5 million.
Yeah, that was from what I've seen, it was like a steal already. So yeah, I'd probably say him.
Yeah. I really want to see, and I don't know why his name isn't being mentioned, Bendito Mantato, right? Because I think ultimately Dalot is going to need a rest. So, I mean, he looked fucked at the end of the game. So did a lot of the other players. But as much as we criticise him, and it's due criticism, absolutely, I do think he's played so many minutes and he never, ever gets rested. Him and Bruno in particular. So if he does, that would be an opportunity to bring him in. But it's just how many players they actually go with. And I suppose we'll get into that when we do the starting 11s. Wolves go level on points with us, lads, if they beat us, which I didn't realise. Level on points. And people were talking about them like relegation contenders literally like a good few weeks ago. So how low, considering we're putting all these eggs in this Europa League basket now, and this is an open question to any of you, how low do you think we could finish? Do you think it could be as bad as 16th, 15th, 16th, given the games that we've still got left?
Can we mathematically finish any lower than where we're at?
Let's have a look. I'll pull the table up now.
I know
so
we can't finish higher than 12th, is it? I think
we are 14th on 38 points, right? So 6 games left. You win all them. You finish on 50 points. That's the maximum you can get. West Ham are on 35 points. We're only 3 points above that. So if we lose tomorrow, which we absolutely could do, and West Ham win, we go 17th because Wolves are just below us as well.
Right.
So
that
we
could
be.
That could definitely happen.
Is that acceptable then, though? Like, if you don't go and win the Europa now, and you finish 17th, that's getting a bit too close for the. I know there's context to it, Aaron, but that's getting a little bit too close for the relegation for my liking. I know, like, Ipswich are on 21 points and we won't get relegated, but is that not worrying?
Yeah, well, I feel like wherever we finish now, it's like unforgivable to be in the bottom half, to be honest. And, you know, when Adam put in the group chat before, like, you know, would we say we have had a better season than Arsenal? We could win Europa, yeah. We ain't never had a better season than Arsenal. No. If you'd have asked me at the start of the season, bottom half in Europa, or second and champion,
do you know why as well? Because Ten Hag won the FA Cup, and look what happened.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you know, we were poor last season as well. You
can win a cup in it, playing bad still in a weird way.
Yeah. It's like there's been teams that have won like the FA Cup and got relegated the same season, and they ain't had a good season. But no, I'm kind of not really asked where we finished, to be honest, because it
really is that both of us though. Like,
no, I am. I think there should be on the players' part. There should be a part of pride where you don't want to drop it. But it's like if you was to drop 2 positions, does it really matter? We're already in the mud anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
for me though, it's more of a pride thing. Like, I think anyone we've had on this channel, I think they've all said that, like, they're not really asked about. But for me, it's still a bad look if you finish 17th.
Yeah, but if we stay where we are now, it's still a bad look. If we finish one place higher, it's a bad look. You know what I mean?
It is, but I'm talking about like the media, Sam, for example. You know, they use these kind of things that, like, finishing mid-table, let's say, for example, is still a lot more respectable than saying there was one place above the relegation spot. That's what I'm talking about. Like, the way they'll angle it, you know what I mean? It just puts added pressure onto next season for me.
If we finish 17th, they're going to write shit. If we finish 12th, they're going to write shit, aren't they? They're going to write shit about us, no matter what happens. Like, that's just United. Unless we win the treble, like we win the title, the Champions League, and the FA Cup all the season, every season, there's going to be some criticism about United. It's just the way it is. Like, oh, they should have done this. Oh, they should be buying this player. It's always the same. Like, I'm beyond caring about it. Like, I'm beyond the fucking media. Just like Thierry Henry just criticizing 18-year-old Lenny Yoro for no reason. Like, why? What is the benefit of that? Like, well, how does that help anybody? So yeah, let them write what they want. The season's done. It's been over for a while. I don't care. I'd
love him to analyse that block last night. I'd fucking love that. Go back and watch that where he puts his head on the line. I bet he's never done anything like that in his fucking life. He's never needed to because he's an attacker. But I'd love him to analyse that because that was pure fucking heart and spirit. That I know he had a couple of like mishaps late on in the game, but that can happen when you've got tired legs. But I thought overall he's playing pretty well at the minute, Lenny Yoro. I'll go back to you in a second, Aaron, but I just wanted to ask Sam as well. You're going to the game. What are you expecting atmosphere-wise? Because I feel like it's going to be very flat after a game like that, where we know there's going to be rotation. I don't want to downplay it because you go into it, but you can imagine it in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's basically me getting to go to an academy game, I think.
Yeah, like pre-season friendly.
Yeah, I don't get to
Where we
go
get
to a lot of
battered.
academy games because it's at Lee Sports Village, and I don't know if you've tried to get to Lee from Sale before, but it's a fucking pain in the ass. So yeah, I've not managed to get there too much. I was at the FA Cup final when they did at Old Trafford. That was cool. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see all these like young players and get a look at them and see how good they are in person. That'd be really fun. I imagine the atmosphere isn't going to be anything like what we experienced last night with the tifo and the fireworks and the roar, the Harry Maguire. So yeah, it won't be anything like that. It'll definitely be a different feeling, but I still think it'd be nice to sort of look at these players that you don't normally get to see a lot of minutes from, other than like sort of the odd cameo or 10 minutes or something like that. So yeah, that's exciting for me. And that's interesting.
Yeah, huge opportunity on the line for some of the youngsters. Before we get into the Wolves chat, I want to just go into our chat. Random guys in here saying, good afternoon, hope everyone's in good health. What are your opinions on Amarin being able to change his mind on Casemiro and also making him look 3 years younger? Aaron, I'll chuck that to you. What have you made of Casemiro's performances in a minute?
Well, last night, he was definitely could have been man of the match.
I think he was.
Yeah, he was like how he was in the first season. Because let's not forget, the first season for United, he was probably our best player, him and Lissandro.
Yeah.
And I do think he's been a victim of the system. I really do, especially under Ten Hag. He was so isolated sometimes, but him and Lagarde seemed to work last night. I was critical of him in the first leg because they looked leggy to me and they looked slow, and that I didn't feel like getting the ball forward. They were quick enough. I thought they were a lot better last night. I just think, personally, I would still sell Casemiro in the summer if there was a buyer, but it's not critical for me that he has to go because I still think we'll get a tune out of him next season. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with him, like whether he's here, whether he's not. But I'm all for it because he's definitely been better. And if he's going to play to the half like of what he could do at Madrid or how he was in the first season, then we're going to get something out of him. So,
I mean, Sam, when you watch him last night and you see he wins the penalty for the Bruno goal, he gets the assist for the Mainu, and he gets the assist for Maguire's goal as well, like a really good cross. When you see that, it's such a stark difference in it to how he was under Erik Ten Hag. And we know how stretched he was. We know the space he was being asked to cover, just simply couldn't do it. But our concern, I remember discussing this a lot when Chivy was mentioning about the system, we always said it was more the mistakes he was making on the ball and when he was getting his pocket picks and those kind of things that we was more upset with, let's say, for a better thing. Do you still see that? Would you still sell him in the summer?
I think I'd sell him just because the wages that he's on, like, that is such a lot of money, and it's a player who's coming to the end of his career. His better days are behind him. Not to say that he can't have good matches or good games for us because he had one last night, but the wages you're paying him doesn't reflect his status in the team. Like, he's not the most important player. He's not Bruno in this team. Like, he's not the guy who's like going to get you out of a hole every single time. So his wages don't reflect that. So I would sell him just to help balance the book so we can retool this squad. But like Aaron said, if there's no buyer for him because of the wages, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you can't just be like, yeah, go play in the reserves, Cass, because that just causes disharmony in the squad and stuff like that. So then you got to try and utilize him the best you can. So that is a possibility, I'm sure. But yeah, if he can continue, like, he's been making less mistakes recently. He's also he did do it against Newcastle and he did do it against City where he's 2-footing people. But if he can just sort of clear that up a bit as well, because every time he played that like that, it was just like he got like 3 red cards in the space of like 2 months or something. So it's just, if he can clear that part of his game, and things will definitely be better.
It's weird because I think with him performing like this at the minute, that's surely only going to put him in the shop window, isn't it? Like, if he's playing well, other teams will take notice. Maybe Saudi will recapture that interest. Maybe the MLS will come for him. Maybe because he's still a player in there, clearly. You might have to play a little bit more pragmatic. I think that's why we've got more out of him. He ain't covering. He's got Ugarte basically in his side pocket anywhere he goes. And they're just putting fires out. But if you're trying to play a bit more open and expansive and high line, and I don't know if he's that guy. I think Amorim wants to move on from that. That's like the next stage. Keeping him in there, I think he has been great and he's been a destroyer, but he does also hinder a certain side of the game for me that I see. That I want to advance in our game. I don't just want to be really kind of soak up the pressure and hit on the attack a lot of the times. I want to tweak it, and I want to see Amorim's style of football. And I don't think you can do that with players like leggy players like Casemiro, because in the Premier League, lads, as you've seen, the physical profile, like players like Casemiro, aren't there to cover ground and the distance that we need against Newcastle's. That's where you get ran ragged. It's all right in Europe, but in the Prem, different beast, completely different beast for me. Yeah. Finesse saying, get up, Chido Obi Martin as well. Junior Gabba saying, I would love Kone to start. We didn't even mention Kone, did we? Last I saw him, he scored a banger, didn't he? A volley, was it?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But he was on the bench against Spurs, and he's not been on the bench since, has he? Like, he's not been anywhere near the team, so
yeah.
I don't know.
I believe Leon had the best or most dynamic attack in the Europa League. I believe Bilbao will be easier than Leon. We just have to find the back of the net. What was your response to that, lads? Do you think Bilbao will be easier than Leon?
No. Nah. I think they're more refined. I think Leon are a bit like us. It's in terms of it's a bit all over the place. Like sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not.
Mika Tuati was quiet last night, wasn't he? I felt.
Yeah. I think Bilbao's going to be tougher. I honestly think they're going to stretch us. But just to go off topic a bit, but last night, right, I hate the way modern football is played, but last night was like a breath of fresh air because it was two teams just going for it. It was so nice to see. Like I was going to mention this before and I forgot, but it was
I'll happily discuss the game again. That's fine. Fuck Wolves. Let's be honest, lads. Anyone who's asked about Wolves, let's talk more about last night.
There was like probably 30% sideways passing. There was spells of it or little bits, but majority of it was just direct, and that's how football should be played for me. Like it was just so good to see, and I hope we can get to playing like that because I think that suits us. Like and not everyone has to play this Guardiola football, this boring ass football. So yeah, man, I was just refreshed watching that.
But does it feel like we are still a moments team, Sam?
At the minute, because obviously we've got this manager whose system is really in particular and requires on specialist and certain individuals to play in this team, and he hasn't got them yet. So he's having to rely on patching it up or making things happen or like moving pieces around the board, like putting Maguire up top, for example, and playing Mainoo in false nine and all this different stuff that he normally doesn't do because he knows he hasn't got the players yet to do what he wants to do. And you saw that at Sporting when he first came in. They were not won a title for however many years. They were playing like shit. The fans were getting on his back. And then at some point, things clicked. He got his players in. He got rid of the players that he didn't want. And things started turning around. Hopefully that's the case at United. Like you'll start seeing it. And you saw the football that he plays with Sporting. I wouldn't call that boring. I wouldn't call that like sideways passing. That is full frontal attack football going for it. Like you saw that game against City was a purest example of it, especially the second half. Like they were getting battered pillar to post, and that was like this sort of antithesis of like Pep just dragging the life out of a team. And then the second half, he came out, he went, nah, fuck this, and just went for it and just destroyed them 4-1, and that was the end of it. So hopefully that's what we get to see once he gets his players and he starts like his system starts ticking over. That's what I want to see. The most exciting football I've seen at United post Fergie is under Ollie. Everything else has been pretty piss poor, to be honest with you. Like pretty piss poor. So more of that. I'm all for it.
Do you know what? I feel like I'm seeing a common theme in football at the minute. Like I feel like a lot of the teams are going more direct now and more long ball and making it more of a physical kind of. You look at Forest, for example. Forest are going to finish in the top four. It looks like they're going to get Champions League football. And a lot of their play, I mean, they have one of the worst possession rates in the league, like average 35% possession in the game. But because they're so direct and they have such quick, athletic, strong players, they can just kill teams off. Bournemouth are another prime example. I know they fell off a little bit recently, where if you watch Bournemouth play, how they press, how energetic they are, Newcastle's the exact same. We saw that on Sunday. They was all over us. That midfield, you couldn't fucking touch him. Tonali, Guimaraes, like the profile of them kind of players kills us.
Leicester won a league. It's playing a different style of football to everybody else. Yeah. They won a league because people couldn't figure it out and couldn't stop Vardy and Kante and Mahrez. They couldn't stop him, and they couldn't figure this fucking system out. And then obviously in the summer, Mahrez goes, people everybody gets pinched, and the team falls off, and they end up like almost getting relegated. But for the whole year, people couldn't figure out how to beat him or to stop him. They just couldn't do it, and that's why they won the league. Because people going, they're not going to win. Yeah, they're doing well, blah blah. And he ended up winning it. So these teams, if you could come in with a system that people can't figure out and can't beat you, you end up winning. And that's why Forest are where they are, because people can't figure out how to stop that counter attack. Like, they just can't stop it.
I know this sounds weird, but I'm not saying there's going to be a similar transformation with Wolves. But I look at their players at the minute, and obviously the form that I didn't realise this either. In the last 5 games, they've not lost one game. They've won 4 and drawn 1 and scored loads. Strand Larsen, in particular, shredding it in a minute. He scored in every single one of them games, 12 goals in the league. Cunha's got 14 goals. They've kind of come out of nowhere, Wolves. I remember back in, was it like November-ish? Everyone was writing them off to go down. Like, they look an absolute mess. And you look at them now, we was just talking about physical profile and the ability for the quick transitions. I'm telling you now, when we play them on Sunday, that will be their game. They will kill it. Remember Cunha in December?
Yeah.
Against us. He was just all over. We couldn't get fucking near the guy. And that's why, in particular, we need players like that. And I watched the game against Tottenham just to see kind of where he was at and how he was playing and what kind of form he was in. And they scored from like a multitude of... They scored from a set piece. They scored from pressing him high up the pitch, winning it. They scored from a cross into the box. And they scored from a tap-in. So they can hit you from loads of different angles. And they've got loads of different weapons as well. Even the wing-backs are really good. So that kind of leads into the question is, who are you worried about the most? Is it Cunha again? Is that the big name you'd go for with Wolves, Aaron?
Yeah, I think that's the obvious one. But yeah, I think Strand Larsen as well, like you say, man, he seems to be hitting some form, and I'm surprised his name is not being mentioned with like transfers and stuff, because I thought this the other day. He seems to hit form, and he's a name that I think people will be talking about in summer, because he's kind of just like, no one was talking about him at the start of the year. I didn't even really know who he was, and then this season he's killing it. I think it's strange with Wolves how they've, it's been like it has literally been like a 2-half season for them. I think a few of their players may get pinched and they end up getting relegated next season, to be honest.
I think Wolves are going to finish above us. I don't know if you agree, Sam, but I just have a feeling they're going to... The form that they're in at the minute, I think they will finish above us. I'm just looking, sorry... They bought him for 20 million, Strand Larsen.
Yeah. Where did they buy him from?
£20 million. Celta Vigo. I got him from, which is really, really impressive. Kind of that Soloff mould as well. Soloff. It's that kind of build in it. You know what I mean? Kind of just a big target man, but also like quite a clinical finisher as well. Yeah. So Sam, if we cast our minds back to I don't know how much you remember of the game against them in December period, I think it was. Bruno got sent off, if you remember.
Yeah.
And Cunha absolutely running riot, and it just made me kind of cast my mind back to that period. December was horrible, wasn't it? I know it's not been amazing recently, but December was really bad.
That was probably the worst period we've had, I think, ever. This season.
I think ever.
You can say ever as well, but this season in particular, that December was just miserable. Was it like 5 losses on the bounce or something?
Oh, it was fucking horrendous.
Like, it was just, every game was just horrendously bad, like really fucking bad. And yeah, Wolves were just, you were looking at Wolves and thinking, maybe this is a team we can beat. They were like flirting with relegation. Maybe this is, we can get our season on track. And then just didn't happen, did it? Cunha is an animal. He's obviously being linked with us. When we play Bilbao, how long until we get linked with a Bilbao player, do you think? 2 days?
It'll be Nico Williams the day after. United are in for him. No doubt in my mind.
The Shekri stuff's going mad at the minute, so I can see that. But yeah, So Cunha's being linked with us, obviously. Eight Nori as well. I really like him. He's a great left back. I really enjoy watching him play. Their midfield is underrated as well. Like Andre, João Gomez. I think they've got.
I'm a big fan of João Gomez. I would have had
really
United personally.
Yeah, really good midfield as well. So yeah, I think they've got some underrated players. And yeah, don't take them lightly because in all likelihood they could definitely beat us on Sunday. Like I've got no bones about it. Like they could definitely do us in. So yeah, it's a worrying team, but again, because the league is pretty much done for us, they're not as affecting me. Like if this was a Premier League thing where we were fighting for a Champions League place, then obviously it'd be a lot of a thing. But Premier League's done, so yeah.
I'm just looking at December, Aaron. We lost to Arsenal, lost to Forest, lost to Tottenham, lost to Bournemouth, lost to Wolves, and lost to Newcastle. Just in 1 month.
Yeah, I remember the one that stands out to me was the Bournemouth one.
That was horrible.
That was dreadful.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? It'd be really, really bad. I think the Europa League is the only thing that's going to fucking save our bacon this season, genuinely. Because if we don't, you finish 16th, 17th without a trophy at the end of it. Oh.
Well, not even that, just without Champions League, that'll be the saving grace for the season. Like, you want to get players. United will always attract players. I believe that. I do believe that. But, when you've got Champions League on the table, makes that negotiation just a bit easier. And like you say, if we finish 16th, 17th and we've got no Champions League, it's like, how are you going to convince players?
In a weird way, though, Sam, if we don't get European football next season, and you've seen them teams, haven't you, who just have a straight run at the Prem, basically, and have more time to train, and Amrin can work with them a little bit more. Could that also be beneficial on the flip side? Obviously, not financially. Forget all that stuff. No, it's not. But having that time on training ground, fitness-wise as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Get his system in, all that sort of stuff. And then also, you probably going to have to rely on more academy players because obviously financially, you're going to be a bit hamstrung. You're not going to be able to go buy these players. So you're going to have to dip into the academy, which is something we've sort of... There is obviously these players that have came through, but we've neglected it a little bit over the last couple of years. We've tried to solve the problems by going out and buying the solution rather than like developing a team and bringing players through. Obviously, we've had McTominay come through, Rashford, etc. But there's not been anybody who's come through in a while where you're like, this guy is like really excited. Whereas we've got a massive crop of players at the minute where you look at them, all of these players look really, really good. So I'd love to see at least 2 or 3 make it next season and be like a staple of the first team squad. And if we're not in Europe, you can play them, can't you? Like play them in the cup competitions. If they start getting minutes and stuff, then you can play them in the league. So yeah, there are positives, but obviously we want to be in the Champions League, the financials, attracting the great players and competing for trophies. That's where you want to be. But there's positives if we don't make it.
You want more talent. I know it's hard to do this, but you want more talents like Mainu and Garnacho, don't you? Like, but potentially more in midfield. I know Mainu is a midfielder.
We have a striker, please, for the love of God.
I mean, well, Cheeto, I know he didn't come through the academy. We've gone out and bought him, but he looks like he could be a promising player. And he's actually someone I would, when we talk about ones to watch in this game, I'd pick Cheeto if he does start, if he does get a chance. He's someone I'd consider. And then obviously for Wolves, I'd go with Cunha because let's be honest, he's the one who's going to run riot. Aaron, give us one player from United, one player from Wolves who you think's one to watch in this game.
I'll go from Wolves first. I'll go Strang Larson.
Yeah.
And for United, I'm going to go Mason Mount. I think he's going to start and he's going to have a good game.
Oh, interesting. Sam?
Yeah, Cunha's the obvious one. I'll pick Eight Nori because I think he's effective for the overlaps and stuff like that. He can put a good cross in as well. So, yeah, I'll go with Eight Nori. For United.
Scored against Spurs as well, Eight Nori.
He did, yeah. I will say Heaven because I've picked him in my team, so I think he'll have a good game.
In Heaven, okay. Right, let's do some quick fire questions. Sam and Aaron.
Before we do that, let me just switch this light on because my light is getting darker and darker.
Sam, I'll go to you first. Do we score a goal?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought more positive than I thought. Do we score a goal, Aaron?
Yeah.
Percentage based on perception. What are the odds in this game, Sam?
Depending on the team we put out, if we put the team out, I've picked, I'd say 60 to Wolves, 40% to us.
Aaron?
I'm going to go 50-50. I can't call it.
Will Bruno start, Sam?
Not in my team, no.
Yeah. The guy's never going to get a break.
Yeah. How many Wolves players would get into United, Sam?
Probably about 4.
I'm just doing a quick count now. I'd probably say 4 or 5.
Yeah. Who gets player of the match tomorrow, Sam?
Mason Mount.
Are you going to go Mason Mount as well, Aaron? Because you said Mount.
Nah, Luke Shaw.
Wow, Luke Shaw and Mount. So Luke Shaw's getting player of the match for you, and Mount's the one to watch.
Just
never
to
thought I'd hear them fucking
minutes,
words. Yeah. Give him the award just because he's got through the night. Yeah, the participation. Do you remember them back in the day? You get a participation award. Like, fuck off.
Everybody's a winner. Everybody wins.
Taking part that counts.
Yeah. Did he ever tell you that when we meet, got the best personality award at football back in the day? And
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I still wind him up about it to this day because I think I got like most skillful. I mean, one of my other mates got like players player, and he got best personality. It's like basically just saying you shit at football, and here's just an award.
That's like getting an attendance trophy, isn't it? It's like, oh, you showed up every time. Like, that's all you get.
You were here.
Yeah. Anyway, right, let's get into the starting 11s, ladies and gentlemen. So, Aaron, run us through yours, mate, if you can. If you remember
I'm trying to remember. I think I went Binder in there. And then I went Yoro, Lindelof, Azrari as the back three. And then I went Dallo, Ericsson. Who did I put next to Ericsson? Agate.
Mainu.
And then I went Luke Shaw. And then I went Bruno, Mount, and Cheeto. I don't think we're going to throw that many young players in, to be honest. I think this game's going to be more players that haven't featured as much, but are still experienced. Because I think they're going to want to keep momentum going. I think they are going to want a result. And I think the kids we may see more towards like the last few games. But yeah, I think this will be a good game to get a start for Mount, get him like 60 minutes. Luke Shaw, he played like a half last night and more. So, he's capable of starting, in my opinion. Ericsson will probably start. And Cheeto's the obvious one because we ain't got anyone else, and I'd rather see him play than Højlund, to be honest. So.
Okay, I don't mind that team at all. This is I think, one of the most hardest ones to predict this game, just because of Amarin's things. Or maybe it's a smoke screen. Who knows?
Maybe.
Sam, talk us through yours.
So I've gone full rotation for every single position and tried to put as many youth players as I can in it because, like I said, it doesn't matter, and let's give them some minutes and see what they got. Like, that's how I've looked at it. So Biendia starts, Kakonki, Lindelof, and Heaven. Lindelof apparently was going to come on yesterday, but there was a personal issue, but it's been resolved, so I think he'll start. Mazraoui, I've given him a rest because fucking Christ, does that guy need it? He needs a rest. Please rest that guy, please. Dallo on the right because we haven't seen Mantato on the bench at all. Like, so to chuck him in at this point would be a bit weird. I'm not against it, but yeah. Amos on the left, he's had the minutes and stuff like that, so I think he deserves a start. Mainu in the middle with Jack Morehouse, who has been spoke about a lot. Muptier said he's going to make his debut before the end of the season. He's been on the bench consistently. Chuck him in. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what his game's like. I'd love to see it. So, yeah, I've put him in there. Mason Mount and Ericsson up top just for a bit of experience. And then, Cheeto, because Rasmus Højlund's confidence is shot. Xerxes out. So let's give Cheeto a go and see what he's got. So I've gone full rotation as much as I could.
Do you know what? I didn't even think about Ericsson. I don't know why. It didn't pop into my head. So I would probably make one change there. I'd put, instead of Garnacho, I'd put Ericsson up top. But I think I've gone Konke, Lindelof, Yoro, Dallo, Garte, Bruno, Amas. Because for the same reason that Aaron said, Bruno just seems to play every single fucking game. So I'll put him in there. I don't think Ugarte in particular needs a rest. I might be wrong, but he seems. Don't forget, he's been being took off like 60th minute, 50th minute, quite a lot past couple of games. So I think he'll be fine. Amas, obvious reasons. Mount, obvious reasons again. I think he can play a full 90 now, or should be able to, the majority of the game. And then, Ericsson and Cheeto, I'd probably say. He's from Denmark, Cheeto, isn't he? That's right, isn't it? Yeah, so you got a bit of a Danish link there. Got a few Danes in that, with Cheeto, Dorgu, Ericsson, Hoyland. Yeah, a few of them. So that is what we've gone with. Let us know, guys, who you agree with. What team, or is it any different? What young players would you chuck in the team as well? Before we do score predictions, going to read out the last few comments, and then we'll get into the... I think they're going to be interesting. Daniel DeRay says, I believe Shaw, Mount, Mainu, and Harry Amas should get more minutes. Random saying Cherky would fit the system. Junior saying Manchester United must sign Cherky for 20 million and replace Ericsson. Lads, Cherky, you having him? 20, 21, 25 mil, whatever it is.
Price and the age is really, really good, and I like the way he plays. So, yeah, why not?
Aaron,
yeah, definitely.
Was it the Aaron Classico last night watching Leon? Because I know you're a fan of
Yeah. I was going to say, I shouted him a while back when he first came in. But, he's what a footballer should be. Like he's a bit of a throwback to an old school football, like a mid 2000s, a bit of a maverick
off the cuff kind of player.
Yeah. I love them players. So yeah, I'd be all for it. I feel like he would suit the system. Yeah, man, I'd take him. 25 million's nothing in today's game as well.
Yeah, pennies in it. It is pennies. And we're probably going to have pennies in the summer if we don't win the Europa League. Did last night happen because no away goal rule? No, because we still won by a goal, didn't we?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have. That would have come into play if it was just Mainu's goal that counted, and then you know what I mean. But it didn't matter because we're thinking. I actually thought at the time, by the way, they was going to call it off for Maguire pushing the back. I thought they might pull him up on that, and I was like, oh, you can't deny a team of that because of a little push.
I think there might have been a riot inside Old Trafford.
Oh yeah, 100%. Hot take: playing out from the back is the biggest scam in world football. That's what random guy is saying.
I mean, we are shit at it. We are fucking awful.
One of the worst teams.
We are the worst at it.
Yeah, we are up there. I agree with that. It's painful, isn't it, watching us play out from the back? You're almost like you don't want to watch it. You just please fucking go. I don't care if you go long and maybe Hoyland doesn't win it. It's more comfortable than watching this awkward fucking whatever you're doing at the back. It's just weird.
Yeah.
WWFC saying Andre and João Gomez complement each other so well in midfield.
Yeah.
How in the world have we lost to Spurs 3 times this season? We can meet them for the 4th time in the final. Would be absolute cinema. Heaven
Not
is ace. No, not for me. I think Spurs beat us in the final if we get there. I think Dalot played every single second of this season. Jesus Christ. And Kevin McVeigh saying thrown to the Wolves. That's the title, Sam. If we get battered on Sunday, thrown to the Wolves.
Yeah.
Sorted. Cheers, Kevin. Nice one for that. Right. Speaking of being thrown to the Wolves, who wants to kick us off with score predictions, lads?
I'll go. I'm going to say...
Before you say
1-0.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, let's see. I was going to say, who do we think's got the worst one? That's what I was going to say. But go on. 1-0 to us.
1-0 United, yeah. It's going to be a poor game, but 1-0 United. Just got to keep momentum rolling. That's all I'm thinking now.
Sam?
I've gone with a Nick special. I've gone 1-1.
Oh, have you? A draw.
Yeah.
I can see a draw as well, you know. But I did initially put Wolves 1-0. I think Wolves will beat us.
Okay.
I think they could even beat us 2-0, to be fair. It all depends on the lineup. How much are you actually going to rotate? If there's a lot of youngsters in there, I'd be prepared. But I don't think Amorim will necessarily throw a lot of youngsters under the bus like that. I think there'll still be some experience in the team. Hopefully. I don't know. I'm not sure. Leave your score predictions, please, ladies and gentlemen. The chat random's going with 3-1 to Wolves. Depending.
I don't think I could come down that much off.
No.
On Thursday.
That really is a reality check, that, innit? From going to getting through to semi-finals and then getting twatted off Wolves 3-1.
I don't want to go. I'm going to Wolves. I don't want to go there and watch a 3-1 battering. I don't want to see.
You're brave going anyway. Right?
I won't be surprised. I actually wouldn't be surprised. I think Strand Larson, who sounds like fucking shampoo, by the way, I could see him getting a brace or something. genuinely good. So
I can see Cunha scoring an absolute screamer as well.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm throwing it out. I can see an Onana mistake. It's just coming in.
Aaron, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It will. It'll happen.
And what's the narrative that we painted? It's like, oh, it's only Premier League. We're not asked about it anymore. So make any mistakes that you want. Yeah, as long as you don't make a mistake in your Europa League, get it out your system in the Prem, and then we can focus on Europa League then.
You know what? He'll probably have the opposite. He'll probably have an absolute worldie and just pull off ridiculous saves, and then he'll drop a clanger against Bilbao. That's what'll happen.
No, I couldn't say that.
Oh, Jesus
couldn't
Christ.
take it.
Well, at least you can have a nice weekend up until, because we are playing on Sunday, aren't we? So anyone who is watching, please do enjoy the rest of your weekend, whatever it is you're doing. Obviously, it's Easter weekend, so I'd imagine some of you are probably, chomping on some Easter eggs. But apart from that, I'm just going to quickly put the video that we dropped this afternoon around 2 o'clock on Liam Delap. If you haven't had the chance to check it out yet, please do. Let me just copy and paste this link in here just to leave you with this, and then I will let you lovely people go. There it is. All right, yeah. Smash like the video for us. We're on 13,969 subs, so 31 or 14k. If there is anyone new and you'd appreciate the content, then please do that subscribe button. Drop us a follow on all the socials for your updates over the weekend and your news fixes. And we'll be back tomorrow and then Sunday with the pre-match and post-match build-up. Appreciate you all. Cheers, Aaron.